You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
It's a dog-eat-dog world, folks, and I'm wearing milk-bone underwear.
I'm climbing through the chaos, got the truth in my back. Leftist lies and globalists, I'm pushing them back. From the saloon to the airwaves, I'm spitting it raw. Constitution's my compass, liberty's law. Big gods creeping, shadows on the land. Feds with the schemes trying to bind up my hands. But I'm the Sherpa, guiding through the storm. Red, white, and blue, yeah, freedom's reborn. They spin their tails, but I see through the haze. Media maggots, lost in the maze. I'm calling it out, no fear in my soul. This patriot's fire ain't losing control. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Freedom's calling. Leftist judges twisting, trying to steal our rights, but I'm locked and loaded, got them in my sights. From J6 to the border, they're selling us out. I'm screaming from the mountain, hear my rebel shout. They mock the flag, but I'm holding it high. Stars and stripes forever under God's open sky. No globalist chains gonna cage this land. I'm the Sherpa with the truth in my hand. They push their agenda, but I'm breaking the mold. Their promises empty, their hearts ice cold. Chicago's bleeding, borders torn apart. I'm fighting for the people with the warrior's heart. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. I've walked the line, 41 years, badge on the grind, now I'm on the air. My voice like a blade, cutting through the lies that the traitors made. Hurricanes rage, but we're standing tall. Sheriffs of the Constitution answering the call. From the saloon to the heart of the fray, we're taking back America, no more delay. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. hear my voice resound. Conservative Sherpa freedom's battleground. Berserk Bobcat rules will never kneel. For God and country,
Ladies
this fight is real.
and gentlemen, look what I found on my floor. It's my very own little milk bone from my little very own Joomers who run around here in the studio. I've got 4 rescue dogs, and sometimes they bring me gifts like this little milk bone. Now, this isn't the crackly kind. This is the chewy kind that if I were drunk, I would be chewing on right now. Don't think that I haven't eaten dog food, wet dog food, or cat food before when I was under duress, shall we say. Let's hope that you are not under duress as you are here in the saloon tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, how you hanging? Crying? Who am I? Where am I? What kind of person am I? I am BZ, and I happen to be this guy. I am your conservative Sherpa, guiding you through the insidious maelstrom of Demorat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, tyranny, and betrayal. And how do I know that? Because I can read the stuff right there. That's below. Now, some interesting things have occurred. By the way, I should tell you that it is Thursday. It is August 21st, the year of our Lord, 2025. And to all of you, yes, I'm talking about you too. And over there, don't think I don't see you looking at me right over there, because I do. I'm watching you. So I'm your conservative Sherpa. And I must say this, of course, that what you're about to hear for the next 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever the hell, happens to be my opinion and my opinion only. I am doing what the American media maggots won't. I am fundamentally changing America. One red diaper leftist, one red, God, what does Savage say? One red leftist diaper doper baby at a time, or words to that effect, Senator. We don't water our drinks just like we don't water our conversations. We are still serving stiff drinks right here in the saloon, along with facts, history, logic, rationality, proportion, context, tradition, clarity, and potato water, and common sense for everyone. Politics, religion, crime, culture, race, sex, economic, science, law. We talk about it all right here in the saloon, where the speech is free. It's free like a bird as it zips away. And I am streaming live on a whole bunch of places. Let me see if I can find the places in which I am streaming live. And that would be inclusive of YouTube, the SHR Media YouTube channel, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, the Facebook, SHR Media Facebook page, because I don't know, sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. And of course, on X, on a whole bunch of places, up to and including KLRN and the representative, the Ufficiale Royale Representatio of KLRN is in the area. All the bells and klaxons have gone off. So I just want to say this. Hey, look, I'm acknowledging somebody down there. So thanks to everybody for being here tonight. I've hoped that you have had a wonderful Wednesday. Speaking of dogs, what happens is that in the BZ house, now I have 4 rescue dogs. One of them passed away on Father's Day of last year, and we have another one he's not doing well. So, we're afraid that he's going to go away in maybe the next month or 2 or so. Whereas he was kind of a chipper guy and a wonderful guy. He's lost a ton of weight. He has seizures. So he had a seizure right around noontime. And when he has a seizure, we feed him, various levels of vodka. Actually, this is weird. This is really weird. I don't know if you guys have ever had a dog or a cat or something with seizures. He doesn't have the kind of seizures where you can treat it with a pill. It's shaker syndrome, something like that for dogs, and it can't be helped with medication. So he had one of those today, and what you do is you give him yogurt, which is really weird. We have dietetic yogurt that we feed this guy, and whereas before it would take sometimes 10 minutes or so for his seizures to disappear, maybe 15 minutes. If you feed him yogurt, which is so weird, his seizure generally goes away in maybe 7 to 10 minutes. Now, why that happens, I have no damn idea. It just, no weird idea. Now, I'm glad you're here tonight. And let's see, I'm backed up on comments. Mission Ready Men is here. Rick Robinson already blessed and said that he's a great devotee of ice cream. Amish math, that's weird. Okay, what do I do now? Well, just listen. Just listen. Licky Robinson, love easy, long time. And OP, Ordy Packard is here. And sup, Ricky Sean ain't here yet. No, he's attending some personal matters. He's looking at some dad bod surgery, and he's being measured right now for that. Don't tell him I said anything, because it wouldn't be prudent. Cosmic Bard is here. Welcome. And also UBG is here. To which I can attest, yes, he's blind, but he's not necessarily that unpleasant. Now, I want to ask this of you guys, because, and if you're so inclined, weigh in chat. I've been thinking about doing, clipping the show. Please spay and neuter all your shows, no matter where you are. But I've been thinking about clipping my show from 2 hours to 1 hour, because after the second hour, because it's so late, people decide that, well, I think I'm going to go away. I don't really have that much time to spend on 2 hours. So if I were to do that, I was thinking of cutting it down to 1 hour and then maybe expanding to one more show a week. So it would be basically 3 hours instead of on 3 separate nights, perhaps to include a weekend. I'm not sure, perhaps a weekend. Or I may just continue. When I get backed up of urea and other nasties, sometimes I convince myself to do a weekend show, and I'll do one maybe once every month or two, just for the heck of it. Now, UBG says, hey, try 90 minutes. Now, that's very interesting. I'm glad you brought that up, because Earl Jackson of Mission Ready Men is, he's going to be expanding his show. Hey, BZ, isn't that weird? You're talking about Earl Jackson. And wait, does he have a show? You bet he does. Earl Jackson has a show on SHR on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the opposite of me, because he's an actual working man and has to go to work. So his shows are on a reasonable time on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They're at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noonish on the East Coast. So he's a great guy to go see. He's thinking about moving to 90 minutes too. So I don't know. I'm kind of thinking sort of maybe doing that kind of sort of. Thanks for being in our chat room. It still continues to be what I've advertised for quite some time. Plush, sumptuous, palatial, and it is resplendent. Please, I simply remind everybody, I ask for your kindness in terms of please don't pee in the pool. That's all I'm thinking about at this point. Now, we achieved 600 subscribers last Tuesday, and I went, woohoo, 600 subscribers. That's a great thing. We now have 601 subscribers. So to that individual who is the one additional subscriber, let's go to this one. Thank you. So if you're so inclined, please subscribe to the SHR Media YouTube channel. And that also is where you go to chat. Now, I'm live on Rumble, I'm live on YouTube, live on Facebook, live on a whole bunch of different X spots. But because I'm a moron, I don't chat at all those places. I monitor and look at the chat from the SHR Media YouTube channel. So just wanted to say that. The other thing is that we had a discussion. Now we have a behind the scenes green room kind of group for SHR, and we kick things back and forth. And somebody was saying, well, not somebody, because he isn't just somebody, he's Jersey Joe, and likely going to be on tomorrow night. I'll let you know if I know. Hey, maybe Phantom would know something about that. I'm not quite sure, but Jersey Joe in our back room said something similar to, hey, why don't we call our followers and our viewers and listeners, why don't we come up with a name for them? And it was suggested, hey, how about SHR Nation? And well, there's already the Raider Nation. And so BZ put his thinking cap on. I think we have 3 90-minute shows on KLRN, and it actually works as well. Oh, okay. I didn't know it. I thought they had to be pretty much, like even, that kind of stuff. I'm even, I'm odd. 90 is fine. People are saying that, okay, 90 is doing it okay. Most are 1 hour, some are 2 hour. 90 hits great numbers as well. Okay, good, cool, good to know. Anyway, they were saying, well, what are we going to call? Shouldn't we have some kind of nomenclature for the people that are here viewing and attending the show? And Raider Nation, Jesus. Okay, maybe you stole it from Raider Nation. I'm not sure, but SHR Nation was thought about. And I thought, okay, well, why not this? Why not? You guys can all be on my show, SHR Plucky Venturers. So if you'd like to be plucky venturers, you can venture here in a pluckish fashion. And or do you hate that? Is that something that you absolutely damn well hate? Okay, well, heavy sigh. Here's something that you may hate or you may not hate. Go. White women only dream of having this level of fitness while remaining elegant. Because if that isn't the embodiment of elegant, I sure as hell don't know. It's BZ. It's like, BZ, where do you find that shit? And the other thing is, BZ, why do you put that stuff up? If you haven't guessed by now, I try to put kind of amusing or stupid or wacky things at the beginning of the show because, I get stupid, then I get weird, then I get serious, then I scream, and my voice goes up by about 2 or 3 decibels. I'm thinking about naming my initial haha funny stuff. I try to make it semi-amusing and funny. I've been thinking about naming it the Carousel of Amusing Gerp. But even I'm not convinced of that. If you have any great stage names for that, let me know. Also, here's 30 seconds of greatness.
Sarah didn't get a chance to weigh in on the topic of what happened in Maine and AR-15s.
Yeah, I would love to see an assault weapons ban like President Reagan. I don't
wait for it.
believe they're a sport or hunting instrument. It's like shooting fish in a bucket, but that's my
But
take.
also, if you shoot with an AR-15, let's say you shoot a deer, you can't eat it. Right, because you basically demolish.
In addition to that, but the hunt is about an actual difficult process, not massacring bodies of any kind. But my point is, I'd love to see that.
Sarah didn't.
Okay, so if you shoot a deer with a .223 round, you massacre it. Here's something I bet they didn't even know. .223, which is .556 military, isn't even the military round in the United States of America anymore. It's 6.82, which shows you how incisive and insightful these wanklets are. Here's another one that I found that I got to put up. It's got a great, this is something you can dance to.
I'm a big kid, look what I can do. I can wear big kid pants too.
Right.
Pull-ups, disposable training pants from Huggies.
And I can pull them off and on.
When your child is ready, there's nothing like pull-ups.
Mommy, wow! I'm a big kid now.
He's a big kid, and he came to DC, and he wore something different than a gym suit, like all the Russian oligarchs do with gym suits and festooned in jewelry and all of that kind of silly stuff as well. Also, I have this just in. Sorry, there's no music for it, but we're going to go into essentially important safety tips right now that, you know, there are things that you may not actually know about. Let's put this one up on the stage and listen. Were you aware of this? I was not.
Didn't realize was when you click I'm not a robot, what it actually does when you press that button. They're collecting data at the same time. Have a listen.
Ticking the box is not the point. It's how you behaved before you ticked the box that is analyzed. Broadly speaking, you tick the box and it prompts the website to check your browsing history. So let us say, for example, just before you tick the box, you watched a couple of cat videos, you, I don't know, liked a tweet about Greta Thunberg, you checked your Gmail account before you got down to work. All of that makes them think that you must be a human. Essentially, when you are clicking I am not a robot, you are instructing the site to have a look at your data and decide for itself.
Let me get this right. When you tick I am not a robot, it can go through your history.
Yeah, you're authorizing it.
Now, curious, anybody here aware of that? That kind of stuff made you subject to more scrutiny. Boy, am I backed up on comments. Here's another one. Cosmic Bard. And he is pithy and plucky. Pithy. Well, I'm pithy if I don't have my big boy pants on. Didn't I just have a commercial about that? I think I'm pretty sure. That was 2 tons of no fun. I'm already the plucky comic relief, so why not? Yeah. Okay. Brain cells left. Comic artist. Okay, stop right there. Thank you for reminding me. Now, comic artist happens to be, I hope you're sitting down. Are you? I'm watching. And I want you to sit down so that when you see this, you don't faint. Now, Rich Gibbs is comic artist, and he's on Facebook. You can find him. And he's, guess what? An artist of comics. Well, he created this for me some time ago. And that was a wonderful, wonderful thing. Well, guess what? Boys and girls, children of all ages, I showed this at the beginning of the show, and he has a new one. He has created a new one for me. Okay, excuse me while I say something similar to I love the fuck out of this. I think this is just damn great. Because, okay, there's his name, lower right. SHR Media, lower left. There I am in my recliner, and I happen to be drinking potato juice. There's my cross and my hat and my big full beard, and there's a radio where I may be listening to myself and or others. And what's that? Leaning and loving on the radio? By God, that would be a Bobcat, would it not? And it sure as hell is. I think that's absolutely great. Unpleasant blind guy. I ticked the box once and she slapped me in the face. Ooh. Anyway, so kudos and mucho thanksos to Rich Gibbs for sending that to me. I think that's absolutely spectacular. It's wonderful. Now, another important safety tip. I don't really go here too much. I try not to. When I talk about firearms, generally they're in terms of the Second Amendment, which obviously I'm a grand supporter of. And in terms of the Second Amendment, I was range master for my 3,000 plus deputy department back in the about, let's see, what would that be? 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, right around in there. I was in the training division, and I essentially was in charge of all the things that go boom and bang for my department. Well, SIG has a history. At the time, SIG, which is manufactured in Austria, I almost said Australia. What the fuck, BZ? I had, and that was our issue, handgun at the time was from SIG. And I had, let's just say for another show, I had big issues with SIG. This I'd like to tell you in terms of safety, and this is no joke. If you happen to have, and again, see the beginning of my show, SIG, these are my opinions. This is from Soldier of Fortune magazine, the editor and owner of which is Sue Katz, who I know personally and has been on the show probably 3 or 4 times. But SIG knew the P320 could fire without trigger pull. Lawyer says, well, I'm showing this to you so that if you have a SIG P320, you take it and you remove the magazine. You take anything and everything out of the throat. You pull the slide back. You remove the slide. And you put it in a box and set it on ignore mode until SIG decides that they're going to figure out what in the hell is going on with the P320. That is essentially the civilian version of SIG. The U.S. military bought SIG semi-auto firearms. So all I'm saying is be careful, be informed, do with it as you will. Here's something else that I definitely think is an important safety tip. And people are saying, oh, BZ, now this is stupid crazy and crazy stupid. And once again, indicative of the fact that you are a really way over, an incredibly bulbous and ridiculous conspiracist. Well, Canada advances plan to vaccinate public with Bill Gates funded COVID mRNA aerosols. Now, I found this on the internet, and many times I find things that the American media maggots won't or refuse to or won't even consider, and that's with great purpose. I found another 2 articles. I try to find the triad of articles. In other words, if I see one somewhere and I look for it in another place and I find it and identify it, then it's always nice to have 3 if I could have 4 or more. So I found that, but I put it here, but nobody's going to tell you about it. mRNA, and I keep promising, I keep saying this, that, okay, one day I'm going to do a show all about the vaccines, the conspiracies, the repression, the oppression, how people forced unfortunate others into the vaccines, and why, of all damn things, are we seeing essentially crazy, I mean crazy, turbo cancers in not just our population, but the populations all around the world of those who took mRNA vaccines, the likes of which I did not. Because luckily at the time, I was retired, and I was and am. I am beholden to no one. Nobody holds any sway over me. You can't hold my job or my paycheck or threaten me or any of that stuff. Thank God. I'll be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Mission log. Entry. I mean, let's face it, who's even counting anymore? The Lost Wanderer is officially off course, chasing rogue rocket launches, fringe science, and things that probably violate causality. If it burns fuel, bends time, or makes scientists very uncomfortable, yeah, I'm probably going to talk about it. Every other Sunday on KLRN Radio, The Lost Wanderer, because space doesn't come with a roadmap, and honestly, I wouldn't follow if it did.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? You need to check out Mission Ready Men via Earl Big E Jackson on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
I'm back. First hour, done, gone, in the box, down the toilet, down the tank, whatever it is that you want to say. Mike says, where is Clyde? And this is interesting since I was talking about dogs earlier. Because my dog brought me, one of my dogs brought me a milk bone and gave it to me as a gift. And I thought, before I shut the studio door, I'll pick it up and I'll just keep it here. I'm not going to eat it just yet, certainly not on air. I may, if I get hungry on air, I may eat it later. But anyway, Mike says, hey, where's Clyde? Clyde is the Bobcat. And perhaps people don't realize when I said Berserk, BZ's Berserk. Oh, I got to tell you another thing. I just remembered this. BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon actually has a Bobcat. And so if you think that at least in the original SHR Media studio network studio in Sacramento, in California, always spell it with a K, there really was a Bobcat. Well, it was a stuffed Bobcat, and it was given to me as a present by Whiskey Dale. He boxed that. It's life size. It's great. It's pouncing. It looks like it's about ready to pounce on a limb. Well, I couldn't fit it in this studio. This studio is like a fifth of the size, if that, of the one at in Sacramento from SHR. So there's no room. I don't have any room to put it behind me. And if I put it over here to the left, and there's a wall right there to the right, so there's basically no space. So that Bobcat went up into, there's a nook about 8 feet above the living room. And anytime the dogs think about it and look up, the Bobcat is there and they bark at it, which tells you something of all you need to know about dogs. Now, the other thing that I wanted to tell you about the Bobcat is, shh, quiet. I got another Bobcat. And that Bobcat is buried somewhere in my storage shed. We're still, after 2 years, we are still going through stuff in our separate storage facilities. And I have one just for the stuff from my house. In there, in a box, is another Bobcat, a real Bobcat, a stuffed Bobcat. And it will, I can't reveal to you how it will happen, but there is a Bobcat, and I will be bringing it into the saloon. And if there's space, if I don't put up a flag behind me in this space, kind of around in here, I may put that Bobcat up, but I got to find it. It's rather incredible. So thanks for reminding me of that. Here's another, oh God. Do I have this? Yeah, I believe I do. Okay, well, first I told you about that there are important safety tips. And now I have to tell you about this. I only have one example of this.
It's time for Fuck Around and Find Out, the segment where people and groups make amazing personal discoveries called consequences, courtesy of BZ's Saloon.
Now, I'm going to play this a couple of times, and if you watch SHR shows or KLRN shows, you've probably seen this before, but a little bit of a explanation, Lucy. It is an Israeli tank from the IDF that is running over and crushing a terrorist who was stupid enough to get close to the tank carrying an RPG, but the tank decided to, well, you're really flat now, dude. Now, when I play it, I'm going to have to point this out. Let's play it. Okay, there's the dude. Let me embiggen this. Okay, and I'm going to play it a couple of times. Oh, then he backs over him. Okay, there he is with the RPG. There he goes, crushed into the rubble. And that's a lot of dust, but it really doesn't make any difference because that guy is fucking dead. And I think that definitely falls into the category of, yeah, you want to do that? You want to go ahead and fuck around? You just found out. Meester, little Meester. Here's also another segment that I do around this place. And it falls into, let me see, can I get this up? Yeah, there we go. It falls into this right here.
Weapons Grade Stupid, the segment where anyone can play, but leftists are overqualified.
And oh my God, do I have some stupid crap for you. Ridiculously stupid. Here's this, Nature Gap, why outdoor spaces lack diversity and inclusion. I'm not kidding. NC University, I sponsored or paid for this by a so-called alleged journalist. And because of people who listen to the show and they're not viewers, Bobcat with a soft spotlight on it. Yes, you know, UBG, there may, well, yes, it will be a Bobcat. And it may have a spotlight on it, quite perhaps. The outdoors is racist. Well, funny you should mention that. Research shows people of color are far less likely to engage in nature-based outdoor recreation activities, with historic discrimination being a large underlying factor. Participation and attendance at state and national parks, as well as forest areas, tend to be disproportionate between white people and people of color. The reason behind this go beyond the fact that people of color are 3 times more likely than white people to live in places that have no immediate access to nature. Okay, let me stop it right here because it just gets fucking stupider beyond this. It's like everyone assumes, that is to say, you know, white gaups, guilty, overeducated white people seem to believe that, let's see, if you're a poor, underserved, fill in the blank, you don't know what a car is, you don't have access to a car, you're not motivated, you just want to stay in wherever you are, including your basic Mark 1, Model 1 leftist urban rat cage. and that you have no interest whatsoever of the out of doors. It's like, okay, no one's stopping you. You can go wherever you want. I bet you can probably find somebody who maybe has a car, who with that car won't be oppressing you. Here's another stupid story. This is weapons grade stupid. Now, why in the hell would you do this? Deranged woman arrested after threatening to sacrificially kill President Trump in social media posts. It's like, do you not think that social media posts may be monitored? Or if you make a social media post about that some or many of the people who read that post will drop a dime and go at USSS on Twitter, X, and say, "Dear U.S. Secret Service, here's someone you might want to talk to." And then these people are shocked, I tell you, when they get arrested. But apparently they can't put one or two or three together and figure out, no, if I make a threat to the president, nothing will. Yeah, that's how stupid they are. Speaking of stupid, I tried to give these units some leeway, but there is no leeway with this anymore. The ADL has added America First to its terms of racism, nationalism, non-interventionism, anti-immigrant and anti-globalist beliefs. So the ADL, Anti-Discrimination League, which generally is aligned with Jews, Jewish folks, have to say it because if I didn't, wouldn't be prudent. America First is a term that references the World War II era America First Committee as is used by extremists in anti-Semitic, racist, and xenophobic ways. To which I say directly to the ADL, no matter who they are, fuck you. I guess I'm an extremist, okay? I used to think you had a purpose. Now I'm pretty sure that you don't. So fuck off, ADL. Love BZ. Let's move on, shall we? Then there's this. Political science. Trump is like Hitler because he wants people to be fit. I say this every show. Earl, who's in chat right now, says it every show. Sean says it every show. Rick says it every show. Basically, every conservative podcaster says every show something similar to, I customarily say, I'm not going to be shocked anymore about anything really, really stupid which comes out of the left until you see stuff like this. Trump is like Hitler because he wants people to be fit. Guardian. This is, of course, it's from the Guardian. What's right wing today? Today, going to the gym is right wing. According to the Guardian, having personal responsibility and working hard to better yourself and make yourself less of a big fat leech. I have planets revolving around me. I have so much gravitational pull, but it took me 75 years to get to look like that. I had to work long and hard. Make yourself less of a fat leech who blames society for all your problems. Going to the gym is racist. Going outdoors or not availing yourself of the outdoors, or however the hell you wish to interpret that, is racist. Here's another weapons grade stupid article. People often miscalculate climate choices, a study says. One surprise is owning a dog. Stop. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Now the dealio is if, your leftists and Demorats are grasping for whatever, because it's all about climate change, I suppose. Okay, I have some articles later on that I'll go into this, but climate change is like this. It's a bunch of brain dead, no load bullshit. So, if climate change is killing us all, why are extremely wealthy individuals still buying mansions right on the sea and on beaches? Huh? And why are insurance companies covering them, these very wealthy people? Now you're going to pay a usurious rate, but even the Obamas have a sea house. And unless you somehow manage to find insurance, now in California, that's super damn critical. That's another story. But insurance companies, if the seas were rising and you're dying, they wouldn't give you the time of day. Okay. Like, do you remember? We were supposed to be dead a few years ago. Didn't AOC say 12 years ago that in 10 years' time, we're all going to be dead or something like that? All polar bears are going to be dead. Well, they're not all dead. Wasn't Al Gore a revered visionary? Of course he was. Weren't the polar ice caps going to create like the port of Redding in California? Always spell it with a K. So climate change, and I have some stories about this later. I hope I get to them. Climate change has nothing to do with facts. It's predicated on faith, like any other religion. It's why morons embracing it, I term the religious left. Having said that, let's look at this article. Owning a dog now is bad. It's oppressive. Don't you want to know why? I do. It turns out many Americans aren't great at, and you are guilty. You're guilty of this if you have a dog. It turns out many Americans aren't great at identifying which personal decisions contribute most to climate change. A study published by the National Academy of Sciences. Yeah, they'll say anything you want if you pay them the right amount of money. That National Academy of Sciences found that when asked to rank actions such as swapping a car that uses gasoline for an electric one, carpooling, or reducing food waste, participants weren't very accurate when assessing how much those actions contributed to climate change, which is caused mostly by the release of greenhouse gas, which we desperately need, CO2, unless you want to kill the entire planet. That's how stupid these people are. People overassign impact to actually pretty low impact actions such as recycling. You know why people don't recycle anymore? Because it's crap. It's bullshit, and nobody does it anymore because it's a waste of time. Oh, like flying or eating meat. The top 3 individual actions that help the climate, including avoiding plane flights, choosing not to get a dog, and using renewable electricity, were also the 3 that participants underestimated the most. So if you have a dog, you bastards and you bastardettes, you are wittingly contributing to climate change, which is something that happens every damn season. Yeah. Oh, hey, speaking of which, look, I talked about climate change. Look what's next. Now, this is from the Associated Press. Rising seas could put famous Easter Islands Moai at risk by 2080, study says. Study says, bing. Who's that guy that did Family Feud? I can't think of his name. First it was a British guy, then it was a black dude. Okay, so rising seas, everybody's going to be buried underwater because the ice caps are melting. Yet, meanwhile, back at the ranch, here's an article from the same month, just a few days ago, from May 13th, 2025, from, Richard Dawson. Ordnance Packard says, yep, Richard Dawson. That was the first dude. Thank you. Yeah. NASA satellites show Antarctica has gained ice despite rising global temperatures. How is that possible? Well, generally, because Demorats and leftists are lying to your gullible asses. Imagine that. No conflict, though. No conflict whatsoever. And then there's the weapons grade stupid imposition of quid pro quo. So we kind of maybe expect something of you or from you when we give you free cheese and shit.
Can someone please help me make sense of this? I've been receiving food stamps for the last 7 years consistently.
Yeah.
I just received a letter in the mail telling me that I now have to do community service hours at least 15 hours a week. I have to take out of my time things that I do every day to do community service so that I can still continue to receive the benefits that I receive.
Okay, this is the time when my producer plays, because you are shocked and amazed that, oh my God, she has to actually perform some kind of an action for her free shit.
Mind you, I am receiving the maximum benefit. I get $2,000 in food stamps.
Why not?
But that is only because I have 3 kids.
Who's responsible for that? Who put you there, biatch?
How do they expect me?
Why aren't you a good leftist? All these leftist lesbians and weird trans women and whatnot are saying that we're on strike. We're closing our legs. We're not having any men copulate with us, and certainly will not be receiving their seed. Oh, and we're gonna get a big abortion. So how much of a good damn leftist are you anyway, chickadee?
To be able to do community service hours if I can't even get a regular job. So I'm at risk of losing my food stamp benefits because I'm not putting in effort. Are you serious?
You know, let's put it this way. And let me look directly into the camera and point in a pointedly pointing fashion so that I emphasize it with emphasis. This shit is what I voted for. Maybe I should have put that in happy stories. Yeah, something like that. A lot of these stories can go both ways. They can be a happy story. They can be an interesting story. Speaking of world-class stupid, Ordnance Packard says, BZ talking a topic that's in my wheelhouse. And there we go. Comic Artist said the second dude that was on Family Feud was Steve Harvey. Took over from the fat comedian. I'm not sure which one that is, but thanks for the update. That's true. Thanks, sweet cheeks. We are serious about that stuff. Louis Anderson. I didn't know that Louis Anderson, whom I believe is dead. Oh, wait, no. OP Ordy says, yeah, it was Drew Carey. Wait a minute. Where's my bell? That's what I need. That's true. It was Drew Carey. That now is streaming back into my wheelhouse. Now, in terms of weapons grade stupid, let's listen to this. Now, here is another what I call an insane leftist white chick destroying and doing what they do best, which is destroy shit. Wasn't it a leftist white chick as CEO that ended up destroying Bud Light? I'm pretty sure that's true. And now it's time to destroy Cracker Barrel. Go.
Honestly, the feedback's been overwhelmingly positive that people like what we're doing. I'll give you another soundbite. I actually happened to be in Orlando last week with all of our managers. We bring them together and every other year. And the number one question.
Okay, let me get out of this and let me show you how popular this is. Because I don't make this up. I don't have to make this up. One day after the announcement, here it comes, Cracker Barrel, down 13% just beyond that, just because of that, of a decision from a crazy leftist white chick named Julie Massino. And you see these right around October, don't you? Here's what's going to happen to all of your Cracker Barrels, because the reason it's Cracker Barrel is it's a white country dude who's probably straight sitting next to a barrel. Well, the one near me, by the way, happens to be terrible. I'm not going back. All their food is dry and it's overcooked. So, honestly, I couldn't give a shit less if Cracker Barrel goes away. But I think this is amusing in terms of, oh, your stock is tanking, dearie. Continue.
That I got asked, Michael, was how can I get a remodel? When can I get a remodel? How do I get on the list?
Oh, really?
So because the feedback and the buzz is so good, not only from our customers, but
Good
from our team
buzz.
members. They want to work in a wonderful restaurant. So
They don't want to work in a racist restaurant because Cracker Barrel, see the racist guy and up above there leaning against a Cracker Barrel because he's a cracker, and obviously crackers are racist, so we got to get away from these damn racists.
we're doing everything for our guests and our team members.
Well, Julie Messino, it's wonderful to have you here.
Pleasure to
and
be
thank
here.
You
Thank
for
you again.
answering those questions for all the Cracker Barrel fans out there. There's a lot of great changes.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Rob?
Okay, now you're gonna go bankrupt. You're gonna go bust. Anybody besides me? Let's throw some numbers out there if we can. What do I got? Another 5 minutes before the top of the hour break. Let me ask you guys, how many years do you affirm that Cracker Barrel may have left before you will, in fact, see these? It'll be, another place, another business, empty business where you can buy all your cool Halloween shit in because there's nothing else in there and all the business stuff has been removed. How long before that happens? Bueller. So let me catch up to the, here we go. Mission Ready Men. It was female advertising VP that destroyed Bud Light. Imagine that. Another gal, guilty, overeducated white person, only in the guise of what I call insane leftist white chicks. Imagine that. Licky Robinson, who let me long time, say affluent white female liberal, aka awful. AWFL. I like it. I like it a lot. And then I was not a fan of Cracker Barrel when I went there. Now, confirm for me, anybody who's been to a Cracker Barrel, is all the food not, I know cooks are different. You're supposed to basically have the same menu cooked the same way. But I went to Cracker Barrel. It was new in our area about 3 years ago. So at the time that it opened, it was packed. We didn't even want to think about going there for the first year and a half or so. Then about 6 months, no, it was November last year, we brought a guest to the Cracker Barrel. Everything that they cooked and produced out of that kitchen was dry and not just maybe sort of way the hell overcooked. So, is that a Cracker Barrel thing? Because I really don't, I'm not going back. Guess the biggest favor for your working guests is to tank the business. And Ricky says, yeah, I give them about 3 to 5 years max. Unpleasant Bind guy says, yeah, maybe about 3 years, Mike, 5 years. Way back in the day, crackers, big doughy flat things were sold from barrels in stores, and that's where they got their name originally, obviously. Yes, indeed. And I did a BZ today and said Demorats. Whoa, 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 to Phantom. Nicely played, Phantom. Nicely played. And Orden said, yeah, I had it once. It was, and I learned that grits are shit. Okay, there you go. Now, my dad was in the Air Force, and we moved around various places. One of the places we moved was Ohio, as opposed to California, always spelled with a K. And grits is what you get. If you don't get like hash browns, if you're in Ohio going to breakfast, you get grits. Dad loved them. Dad wanted grits. He wanted mom to cook grits all the time. To me, eating grits were like eating a copy of the New York Times, all soggy and crappy, and you just might just rip off, immerse it in liquid, I don't know, or gasoline and chomp on that. That's about how flavorful grits are, as far as I'm concerned. 1 more minute until the break. I don't think I have any more stories. So what I'm going to do is this. Cracker Barrel is we think that we are winning in the culture war. Not so much. In some aspects, yes. Wait a minute. Phantom said Eva cracked up laughing because I said it twice. Imagine that. And Mission Ready Men, they're good with shrimp, but other than that, not a fan. Well, the other thing, sadly, I have to remind everybody here is I'm in Nof, Idaho, and I'm not by the ocean. Now, when I was by the ocean or when I went to places that were by the ocean, like Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, I trained in Georgia for a while at FLETC, and they got great shrimp and great seafood. So the seafood that we get up here in Nof, Idaho, my guess is it's frozen. But wait, there's a benefit too. If it's frozen Walmart shrimp, it's radioactive. That's a clue, producer. It's radioactive. Jesus, would you please?
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
In a world where leftists are running out of metal for the safety pins of their soothing red diapers, one man stands alone, attempting to fundamentally change America, one leftist diaper at a time. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, is guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat leftists and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Listen to BZ Saloon on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern on the SHR Media YouTube channel, Twitch, KLRN, Rumble, and X at BZ Saloon. It's one great late-night conservatarian talk radio show. Be there. Aloha.
Hello, friends. You have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name is Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRN Radio.
It's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Just like the Bidens, I too am moving. Only in my case, it's days and times. That's right. You can now find the Edge of Liberty Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on 11 Eastern on the SHR Media Network. Join me as we talk politics, news, alcohol, fun, not so much fun, clowns, small kittens, large kittens, dogs, amoebas, and anything else that just pops in.
Okay, stop right there. I was thinking about this, and now listening to this, it confirms. Here, let me pull this down here just for a second. I'm not talking about pulling his pants down, for God's sake. I'm just taking this down. Don't tell Sean this, but over the weekend, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new Edge of Liberty graphic for him. And in that graphic will be contained all of those things that he mentions. Dogs, urchins, battle bots. I'm going to put them into a graphic. He mentioned them. Don't think that I'm not going to go there, mister. I will go there.
In my mind while I'm on the air. That is Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, on YouTube, X, KLRN Radio, Facebook, Twitch, and anywhere else a good podcast is found. Please check out our website, shrmedia.com. I will see you live on the air.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And I'm back. The first hour, she is gone. She has flittered away. And it's just me and my milk phone. The door's shut so the dogs can't come in. And me and my potato water. And I must go back and remind everybody, because I think it's very, very important. Thanks to everybody. We have 601 subscribers now. That is one off, but thanks to everybody for subscribing to the SHR Media YouTube channel. And do I go with this? I'm thinking of naming all of you. I'm going to flip an appellation on you, not Appalachian, but an appellation on you in terms of you could be BZ's and SHR's plucky venturers. Do you feel plucky? Do you feel like an adventurer? You could be both of those things if you wish. All kind of crunched together in one big, buttery, lovely kind of political ball of goodness. Or things to that effect, Senator. Let's catch up with this. I think I'm pretty much caught up with comments. Nay. Wait, nay. Are you saying you don't want to be a venturer? How sad. How completely sad. Well, while I talk about sad, let's say I finally created this. Oh my God. We've had this for a long time, but I've never had anything to really go with it. Let's see if my producer can pull this off, because now we have...
It's time for happy stories and good times.
So here happens to be a happy story. Trump can apparently do it all.
Well, guys, this just in. Fox can confirm that President Trump will go on patrol tonight in our nation's capital with law enforcement and military personnel at his side. You can't write this. President Trump broke the news today in a radio interview, and we expect more reportable details shortly. Shannon, an incredible development. Well, guys, this...
So I'm guessing that by now, because it is, let's see, it's 9:07 p.m. Pacific, which means it's 11:07 Central, and it's midnight 07 on the far East Coast. So my guess would be that some poop has already occurred because of this, but I haven't been, I don't have my finger on the pulse of all the news that's shit to print. So in any event, here's another happy story, because that's what we're doing right now. Appeals court. This was grand. This was great. God, I don't have this up right now. Shoot. Do I have my phone? I'm going to have to show it to you. I didn't. I should have put this up in an overlay. Damn me for not thinking about it. I know it's in here somewhere. Normally, I don't slow a show down by doing this stupid stuff. But yeah, here we go. Here we go. This is the dude. Let me take this down here for a moment. And you'll all recognize him. I'll get to the story in just a bit. This is that crazy fucking whacknut. That judicial anarchist, that black robe bastard named Judge Engoron, whose $500 million fine on Trump was overturned. So now that fuck nozzle is now an overturned fuck nozzle. And isn't that great? I think that's a wonderful thing. Let's go back to the stage here. Appeals court throws out massive civil fraud penalty against President Donald Trump. Now, this was where it was a New York appeals court that did this today, threw out President Donald Trump's massive financial penalty while narrowly upholding a judge's finding that he engaged in fraud by exaggerating his wealth for decades. The ruling spares Trump from a potential $500 million fine, but bans him and his two eldest sons from serving in corporate leadership for leadership. I'm going to do this for me. Leadership for 2 years. As far as Trump is concerned, blow me. That's no big deal, nor will it ever be. But it is a happy story, and it couldn't have happened to a finer judge. Plus, this is some audio that happens to go with this. Go.
An appeals court has just thrown out President Donald Trump's $364 million civil fraud penalty. This just happened. It is a developing story. We're getting a lot more information, a big news story for the day. We're going to bring you more details as we get them. This just in. Also want to bring you...
Nice. That's a happy story. Can't be anything else. Here's another one. This I heard now, folks. Okay. I don't customarily do this, but I will tonight. And perhaps I should be doing it because now I do promo Rick Robinson of KLRN. And I tell him customary, hey, thanks for simulcasting my show, especially tonight. I think, I'm not sure that it's being simulcast, but I watched Rick this morning on KLRN, and he pointed this out. Missouri Republicans appear headed to congressional redistricting special session. So essentially what that means is Texas can lawfully do it. But Texas pissed a lot of people off, including California, we spell it with a K, Gavin Newsom. We'll be talking about Gavin Newsom if I have the time. And sadly, or happily, blue states and leftist leaderships, they've decided that they're going to walk through that door as well. Now, I think in terms of Gavin Newsom, each state has its own stricture, and redistricting is something. Oh my God, I'm backed up 12 comments. Well, let me do the comments here while I talk about this. I'm backed up on comments. You feeling plucky, punk? Mission Ready Man's got to go. Great, thank you. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. BZ's Aeronauts. Okay. All right. Take care. BZ Army or the SHR Army. Well, that's not bad. That's not bad. Wait. Was that influenced by somebody named JJ with potential alcohol? I'm not sure. Or something like that. Those are good. Calls BZ real quick to get the Google off the screen. Well, that's true. Anyway, BZ Charmy. Okay. Actually, that's not bad. But this whole thing about redistricting is leftists and Demorats opened the door that a lot of other Republican and red states are going to walk through. And this is one of the major reasons. Look at all these states that have certain percentile of Republicans and no seats because they've already had the crap gerrymandered out of them. 36, 42, 46, 46, 48, 42, 32, 38, 42 percentile Republican with, look, mom, no seats. And so this is a happy story because this is going to begin occurring all across the fruited plain in the boneyard land. And I think that's a happy story. But you open the door. Don't be surprised when other people happen to walk through it as well. The other thing that I personally have a thing about Ukraine Trump has said, no troops in Ukraine. You have my assurance. There was a time when we were considering that Trump, I believe, was considering boots on the ground in Ukraine. Now, is this a committal? I wish I knew. SHR cigars and rose petals. Okay. Not bad. That might be a graphic, as a matter of fact. BZ Aeronauts would be my number 2. And that's true. Rick Robinson. I was listening to his show this morning, which reminds me, because my mind went, that's a sound effect. I was on his show. I was listening to his show this morning. And I try to do that on the days that I have a show. Because what I'll do is I'll listen to Rick, and then I'll try to assemble my show for the night. Well, he was kind enough, if you dare, he dared, to invite me on his show tomorrow morning. And my segment will be in at 8 a.m. Oh my God. Yeah, you heard it right. 8 a.m. BZ steps into a show at 8 a.m. And I will be on for an hour, perhaps a second hour. I'm not quite sure how that works out. But if you're interested in getting up really early, or, well, for me, it's really early, okay? Come on. Watch the Rick Robinson show tomorrow morning at 8 Pacific, 10 Central, and noon type on the East Coast. Wait a minute. Cosmic Bard says, wait, are you allowed to do other shows? Hang on one moment. I'm going to have to consult my contract. I have a really big contract, and I'm going to have to check. Anyway, let's move on. There are more happy stories to put up here right now. This is a happy story because a Demorat governor, declares a state of emergency in a crime-ridden county. But we were told with no alternative. This is absolutely true in terms of crime occurs in red states. Crime occurs in red cities. And then 2 days after Trump walked into D.C. and to combat crime, Governor Michelle Grisham announced the sweeping emergency declaration in crime-ridden Rio Arriba County, Arriba, which includes 2 Native American Pueblo communities. In New Mexico. Imagine that. Crime is stepping off. Well, I'm sure she got a very, very bad nastygram. Now, this one is a happy story in terms of, now, you should be able to hear this clearly, but process what you hear. I will tell you what you hear, because you're probably going to do something similar to, wait, did they just say what I thought they said?
You don't care about this country, and that is unacceptable if you claim to be the president of the United States. So we are here. We are not going anywhere. We are going to continue to fight back, and we are going to continue to speak lies to his truth, to his stealing, and to his cheating.
Okay, what part of that did you discern may be just a little wacky? For the leftists and Demorats amongst you, she said, we are going to continue to fight back against Trump. And we're going to continue to speak lies to his truth, to his stealing, and to his cheating. And that's one of the few times, and I kept this so that you can hear it, where Demorats were speaking the truth themselves. Hey, that's weird.
Arriving proof, if benefits are taken away, they will deport them.
Let me back this up just a little bit. I'm on Getter, and I'm at BZEP on Getter. Let me put this up. And Getter, I don't find too much stuff from, but I did find this. I'm going to play just a portion of it.
Breaking. Sweden has more migrants leaving than arriving. Proof, if benefits are taken away, they will deport themselves. This is true. So the migrant problem in Sweden has gotten so incredibly bad and so dangerous that starting in 2022, they made huge cuts to their benefit programs for non-EU citizens. What did they do? They required them to learn Swedish, to work, and integrate to access their welfare in a step-by-step program instead of just on arrival.
Okay, stop. I think you get the gist of this thing. It goes on for another 3 minutes, but lurking behind the microphone is... because we have parasites too, only our parasites are actual Americans, plus they're illegal invaders. So why can't we do this? We could if we had the will and the wherewithal. I'm going to write my senator and say something similar to, hey, next, we got to do this. This is another happy story. Trump reaches historic trade deal with EU. Europe will buy $750 billion in U.S. energy, which is a great thing. We knew about this, but let's continue, because there always happens to be just a little bit more to the story. So this is where, I don't know if you saw this, but I'm playing it now so that you can say, yeah, I saw that, where President Trump kind of blows the whole wind energy and climate change energy and all that scamulus and blows it up right in her face. And good old Ursula, when he talks about the green scamish deal, watch her face, watch her little gesicht, because she won't be terribly happy.
Well, thank you very much. It's a beautiful Sunday in Scotland, and we thought we could cut things short and certainly travel distance, right, by having our meeting here. So, and the other thing I say to Europe, we will not allow a windmill to be built in the United States. They're killing us. They're killing the beauty of our scenery, our valleys, our beautiful plains.
Wait, she was smiling before. She doesn't seem to be smiling now.
And I'm not talking about airplanes. I'm talking about beautiful plains, beautiful.
That's discomfort.
Areas in the United States. And
you're reading the body language along with me, are you not? Of course you are. See, I love to make Europeans and Euro sluts and Euro trash. I love to make them uncomfortable, because this is what they think of you and I. Trump sees a deal. We've been screwed over year after year after year for decades and decades by tariffs. And so this was from CNN, analysis from a leftist, where Trump sees the biggest deal ever. Europe sees nothing but capitulation. Do you know why? Because they are used to having their free cheese. And our hard-earned American taxpayer dollars, beginning with the Marshall Plan, went and continued to flow into Europe so that Europeans in the UK could have wonderful social welfare programs and then point their fingers directly at us and laugh at us because we didn't have the same wonderful social programs. Oh, by the way, we happen to be paying for their military, while all along, essentially, they got a free ride. Only under Trump did some of the NATO nations come up. Most of them, I think, came up and said, okay, we will meet our NATO obligations. No one but Trump had ever said that before. Wait a minute. Let me go back. I'm backed up on commercials, or excuse me, on comments. Alien poos like Walmart shrimp, radioactive. We could power the ZEP for quite some time. That's excellent. The key is already in DM. You can, of course, stay for the news roundup. Thank you very much. Ricky Robinson. Wait. Okay, I would totally click. I'm guessing click on that screen. Looks like Newsom is leeching off the Cracker Barrel thing. And this is true. I believe this fervently. Trump loves America. Well, let's put this on the screen because somebody else on CNN gets schooled by a Ukrainian parliament member. This happens to be a guy named Jim Sciutto on CNN, and she takes him to task. Go.
Do you believe that when Trump meets with Putin in just a few hours' time here, that he will represent Ukraine fairly, that he will keep Ukraine's interests close to heart?
Well, he's president of US. So what I hope for him, not even to represent Ukraine with dignity, but to represent US with dignity.
Stop. This guy is doing his very level best to he's cringing because he got the answer. Oh, I think I just broke my bell. Damn it. He got the answer. There we go. That he wasn't looking for. Go.
I really hope that President Trump will not try to please Putin or make Putin happy or satisfy Putin, but I hope that President Trump will speak and act with power, because he's a powerful leader. And as he numerously said, there is only one language Putin understands, the language of power, the language of force. So this is what I hope for. And I hope that he will actually use the card of the secondary sanctions, the strongest card that US and President Trump has on hand.
Do you believe?
But he's already said there will be no US boots on the ground. I have a thing with Ukraine. I will be the first to admit it. Ukraine has been the bitch bastard of all of Europe. It's been the laundromat for Europe. It's been the laundromat for South America. And it's been the laundromat for American politicians for quite some time. So I don't have a lot of loving feelings for Ukraine. And I certainly don't have any loving feelings for Zelensky. He could call for a ceasefire anytime and refuses to do so. And I'm not going to get into that this day, but I will continue. Peter Ducey, a great dude, and I love his questions. Go.
President Zelensky, are you prepared to keep sending Ukrainian troops to their deaths for another couple years, or are you going to agree to redraw the maps?
No, he doesn't care. His troops are fodder. Great question, Peter. Respond.
Thank you for your question. So, first of all,
yeah, that's Ukrainian for fuck ya.
You know, we live under each day attacks. You know that today have been a lot of attacks and a lot of wounded people, and the child was dead, small one year and a half. So we need to stop this war, to stop Russia, and we need support American and European partners, and we will do our best for this. So, and I think we show that we are strong people, and we supported the idea.
Okay, I'm not going to continue this because, as you can clearly see, question unanswered. Zelensky unmotivated. That's one of the reasons that I'm not a huge fan amongst many of Zelensky. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, while we give everything else away, what about us? Trump was asking, okay, what about us? And this is from PJ Media, and the question in the headline above, I got about 3 more minutes before the bottom of the hour break, is, can the U.S. address its ammunition crisis before the next war? Because some people in the military were saying, you know, we're wondering if we're going to have enough ammunition if something else pops off around the globe. Will we have enough for us? And the question is, I'm not sure. I don't know. And I think I have enough time for one more. This also falls into a happy story. This is 6 minutes. I'm not going to do the whole 6 minutes. I'm going to play the video to give you a flavor of who this person is. But this is President Trump's new Surgeon General, Dr. Casey Means, who is a Surgeon General nominee, who we haven't been able to do anything with because we can't get these things approved, these nominations approved. So let's get a flavor. Let's get the gist of what it is that she thinks and what she likely will be doing as Surgeon General.
You would think that the American healthcare system and our government agencies would be clamoring to fix metabolic health and reduce American suffering and costs. but they're not. They are deafeningly silent
I like her already.
about metabolic dysfunction and its known causes. It's not an overstatement to say that
I think that's Dr. Macri on the left, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I slaughtered his name. Let me read it. Oh, she is Dr. Casey Means. Okay, well, I think that's Macari on the left.
I learned virtually nothing at Stanford Medical School
Oh, Jesus.
about the tens of thousands of scientific papers that elucidate these root causes of why American health is plummeting and how environmental factors are causing it. For instance, in medical school, I did not learn that for each additional serving of ultra-processed food we eat, early mortality increases by 18%. This now makes up 67% of the foods our kids are eating.
So this is the point where I have to stop this, pull it off the screen, and say something similar to, you know, I'm really glad you're here tonight. I'm really glad to be here. I'm glad to be a member of SHR. My eternal thanks for all of you listening and watching, and for all of you folks watching later in podcast. I hope you understand that when I do this out of love. I'm not making any money. And I know that sounds like, oh, that's what a weird thing. It's busy. Stop being stupid. I enjoy this. I enjoy being here. I really enjoy presenting this stuff. And, you know, to be honest, I kind of hope you do too.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Listen in to the Reaver of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a show equipped for bombast. Tune in Mondays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific, featuring a refreshing dose of reality. Jersey Joe fearlessly tackles the tough topics with no nonsense. Just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com, where you can hear the Reaver of Common Sense in action. He may not always be polite. He may not always be refined. But one thing's for sure. He always tells it like it is.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? Then check out 7 Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing. They're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful.
Look, a
From
fat
timeless
guy.
messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with 7 Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com. 7armors.com. Faithful, vigilant, steadfast, fashion.
Are you looking for bold, honest conversation about the issues shaping America? Well, let me welcome you to Unleashed 101 with Jeremy Hansen, where we take you beyond the headlines. We dive into politics and culture and struggles of everyday life. It's raw, real, and unfiltered. If you're ready for truth with a punch, pull up a chair and join us. That's right, Unleashed 101, where real talk feels like home. Find us at unleashed101.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and more. We look forward to seeing you. Unleashed 101 with Jeremy Hansen.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Final half hour of the show. I do not believe that I am going to engaging in. I don't think I'm going to engage in any overtime tonight. I still have a ton of stuff to talk about and to discuss up there in my list of possibilities. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I've enjoyed being here. I'm going to discuss an article, and today's topic, the show is simply about Demorats Self-Immolate. They're setting themselves on fire. And as far as I'm concerned, I say, let them. Now, occasionally people say, BZ, who are you or what are you?
Behold the ancient, obese, conservative Sherpa in his natural element, a wondrous cornucopia of vibrant foliage festooned upon his face, various tiaras adorning that scabby pate, creating a veritable carnival of conservative cogitations and, some might posit, an overload of bulbosity unrestrained. Please, citizens, avail yourselves of his liquid offerings as the saloon continues, unabated, like bad Bolivian gas station sushi.
And again, thanks for being here. This is who I am. This is why you're here. And as I customarily say around this time,
folks, this is BZ's final hour. Step up. Last call for alcohol.
Now, this is where the Democrats are right now. I think that Earl Jackson may have addressed this morning. If he did, it was a segment that I missed. But I want to go over this so that you understand where the Democrats are right now. This is from the New York Times, and that shouldn't surprise you, but perhaps a few things that are enclosed in this. Now, this was a video. I'm not going to play the video. What I did is I pulled out what I consider to be the salient elements of what this guy is saying. So this guy, a leftist, is Ross Douthat. I think I may have screwed up that name, nor do I much care. Having said that, he interviewed this guy who's named, and I'm going to screw this up too, but, you know, what the hell. The guy that he spoke to is Osita Wanavu. Maybe I got that right. Maybe I didn't. But essentially what he's doing is he's advocating for the things that you see up here in the headline. This is what the Demorats must do to win. And the subheader is right here, why the left can't win without a new constitution. Ruth Bader Ginsburg thought we had the wrong constitution. And I'm going to tell you and elucidate and let you know why. The topics and the issues with Demorats, this is true, but I want to illuminate what they believe in. The bottom line is November, and then the bottom line is 2026 in the midterms. What they believe, kind of, in a way, isn't important in terms of common sense. AOC and that Zohran Mamdani guy are just reptilians. And a huge cadre of equally insane leftists will vote for them. I do believe that Mamdani will get elected as New York mayor in November. Now, 2026, a lot of people are saying, could be a route for Democrats. We think it's about how ridiculously unelectable they are. I conjure that we are, as Republicans and conservatives, we are too falsely confident and smug with that. They know that they're playing to what they consider to be the disaffected Ute and to a large cohort who simply hate Trump and everything that he represents. That is the bottom line on all of this. The meme, Trump could cure cancer. And all of a sudden, leftists and Demorats and anarchists would be, yay, cancer, go cancer, Trump bad for finding the cure to cancer. That's the way it goes. The dealio is that historically, they have been motivated on a large scale to show up in great numbers. And in the end, despite all of the things that we say about Demorats, the numbers are all that matter. We know they're nuts. We know their ideas are nuts. They say it, they go further left every day. It's like a competition to see who can be further left than the leftist person before them the prior day. And many are found insufficiently left for the left, and they are excoriated for doing that. I go back to my original civics teacher in 1967, who said, you know what, here's what happens. This is what I remembered from the only thing I remember from his class in 1967 that I remembered. It is shocking. Democrats don't win elections. Republicans lose them. So this guy, let me see if there's a picture of this guy. Well, no, there isn't. What? That's okay. It's not really particularly important. Trust me when I tell you that abolish the Senate, end the Electoral College, pack the court. The left can't win without a new constitution. So this guy that he interviews, Wanivu, was interviewed by the New York Times, this guy, Duthot, and he wrote a book, and he's a continuing editor at all the expected leftist juke joints, the New Republic, and the Democrat Institutions Fellow at the Roosevelt Institute. Those are all called clues, you see. But like he said, for the Demorats to win, they have to cheat and make sure that they turn everything upside down. You know, they want to get rid of all the things that make America, America, because they cannot win otherwise. So he says, I think many voters went to the polls in November understanding the election as being a referendum on democracy in precisely that way. I think the people thought that they were being asked to judge, on one hand, a set of abstract ideals that their civics teacher might have told them was important in high school, like mine, or grade school. On the other, the price of groceries and the cost of living is important. Discern the difference that he's going to here. I think a lot of Americans looked at their choice and they said, well, hell, I'm going to go with my own economic well-being. The hope, which I think was a misguided hope, that Donald Trump's going to improve conditions within the economy. And so the abstractions that Demorats ran on, the concept of democracy that they put forward, wasn't compelling for a lot of reasons. It's like the meme that I just saw recently again where, you know, I'm an LGBT person. Would you vote against me for lower groceries? Fuck yeah, I would. Oh, hell yeah, I would. He continues by saying, I think there are three characteristics of any democratic system. The first is political equality. You knew that to be true. Political equality. Everyone must be equal. He didn't mention opportunity. He mentioned the actual outcome. That's impossible. That is absolutely impossible. He continues, he says, people are equal in standing when they come to make a collective choice. Here it comes. So when it comes to the Senate, for instance, we have one of the most apportioned upper houses in the world. I think only Argentina and Brazil among our peers are more malapportioned than ours. Okay. So as I've said any number of times, I speak leftist, so I'll translate. What that means, what he's saying is, remove the Senate. It is absolutely terrible that each state, including the stupid, puny, unimportant ones in the midst of the United States, have two senators. Population centers are the real power, and that's why we continue to insist that we pack parasites into low footprint, tall buildings and force them to rely on government-free cheese so that we'll have control of them in perpetuity. That is the goal, make no mistake. And they'll be forever grateful for the crumbs that we dispense to them. You know, minorities or not, it doesn't make any difference. So this guy, Osita Wanivu, continues. He says, there's real authority among the public. When they come together to make a collective choice, things happen. And the last thing I would say is majority rule. But I think, as I write in very, very basic ways, our system flouts all three of these things. Pause. I speak leftist, so I'll translate for this guy. The majority should rule. If everyone votes for slavery, hey, fuck it, let's have slavery. That's what majority rule means. Come on, man. Who could object to that majority rules thing except maybe the slaves? Okay. So how many times do conservatives have to say we're not a democracy? A democracy is a situation where everybody has to vote on everything. And the lion gets to vote on how to carve up all the gazelles, right? The lion gets to win by one vote, a simple majority. He continues, we are a constitutional republic, which is a form of government where power rests with the people who elect representatives to make decisions on their behalf. But then he says, because I speak leftist, I interpret, he continues to complain about the onerous, terrible Senate, but is completely unfamiliar with the phrase checks and balances, because I read this article, this lengthy article. Nary once was it ever mentioned. He continues. California's a state of 40 million people. If it were its own country, it'd be one of the 40 largest countries in the world. It's one of the largest economies in the world. It has the same number of senators as Wyoming. Damn that Wyoming, a state of fewer than 600,000 people. Fewer, in fact, than Washington, D.C. That happened, I discovered the other day. Washington, D.C. has 700,000 people. So that is factually correct. That means functionally that people in Wyoming have about 60 or more than 60 times the representation than people in California do in the Senate. Because also he goes along and mentions the House, doesn't he? Yeah, he does. Oh, OP says, hey, I got to bounce. Thank you for being here. Unpleasant Blind Guy is absolutely correct. Never underestimate the enemy. Did you say Utes? I did say Utes. I sure did. Apparently, if you log in from 3 devices, you stay number 1. Oh, you guys, you are nasty. With, let me continue. Let me put James' thing up there and I will continue. Okay, so what I think he means is, what Wanivu means is that let's just throw out the baby and the bathwater both at once. And he says, we could start with the thing that I think most Americans think when they think about the undemocratic nature of our system, a reform that most Americans have supported for a long time, which is, of course, where are we going? Yes, wholesale removal of the Electoral College. There's a proposal on the table now, actually, something that's being acted upon in states across the country, to move to a national popular vote by interstate compact. This is how they're going to get around it without needing a constitutional amendment. I mean, but this is the point. I mean, the amendment process itself is one of the things that needs amending very, very hard. One of the hardest constitutions in the world to make substantive changes to is ours. He's right. That's correct. And it's intentional. Checks and balances. To do something should be difficult. There should be discussion back and forth. Leftists and Demorats, they want no discussion. They simply want it their way, all the time, or the highway. So if you get a number of states totaling up to the 270 you need to win a presidential election to say, You know, we're going to throw our electoral votes to the popular vote winner. You functionally have worked around the Electoral College. So wait. Guess what? That's what they're going to do come 2026 and definitely come 2028. That's one thing, he says. And again, I speak leftist, so I will translate. When Demorats and leftists won the Electoral College, if you recall, that was way cool. Then when they lose the Electoral College, it's stupid. It's ridiculous. And we need to remove it by its glottis immediately, out of the throat, wholesale, done, gone. He also said, I've advocated in the past for adding new states to the Senate. Oh, wait, you'll love this. I think that there is an ideological imbalance now for all kinds of reasons in who gets represented the most and most reliably in that body. But that's not a permanent fix to the Senate at all. It's actually taking advantage of the equal state distribution. So the interviewer says, oh, well, you must be talking about Puerto Rico and D.C. And he says, yeah, most likely Puerto Rico, D.C., the territories. Stop. I speak leftist, so I'll translate. Let's just jigger everything, okay? So the Demorats and leftists will win in perpetuity, are not winning everything all the time. Every election cannot stand. That's why we need to make, here's the list. We need to make American Samoa, Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, along with D.C., that's 7 entities. We need to make them states. Well, what happens to those 7 newly created states? They get what? 2 senators each. They're all going to vote leftist. So let's see. 7 new territories becoming states. That's 14 new senators. But wait, I thought they hated the Senate. They love the Senate if they're in control. And that is how they plan to do it. So this guy, Wanivu, continues and he says, this is a quote. Everything is negotiable. I don't think the will of the people is a real thing. When you read polls and you say the majority of American people believe this on taxes, and another majority believes this on environmental policy, and a majority believes this on women's right to choose, and so on, these are not all the same groups of people. There is not one, the majority, that is being represented across all of those issue spaces. So the concept of the will of the people is very, very, very troubled. Okay, so then that means you don't have a mandate. Nobody has a mandate. Democrats, they would never have a mandate except when they say that they were given a mandate and they were handed a mandate. So how does this make sense? He continues. Democracy, by the very definition of Democrats, is the will of the people expressed by one overvote. Then that becomes the will of the people. And then that becomes the mandate itself, so to speak. So essentially, this guy that I'm talking about, Osita Wanivu, told the interviewer that you see right here from the New York Times that we have to do the following. We got to pack the courts. We got to pack the states, create more states, eliminate the checks and balances that makes politics messy, so that they have the ability to ramrod through whatever the hell they want, when they want, because sadly, we are not, but should be, in complete and total control all through the United States of America. We need to remember, though, that this is also what he's saying. He's saying that our rights were given to us by government and not some cheesy entity called God, and that our next constitution must place all political power within government and not those fickle and stupid people. If we're to win forever, he says, we need to chuck that stupid constitution, the Bill of Rights, and everything that happens to go with it. Let me move on here, if I might. And I think I've got, I got 6 more minutes left in the show. I think I have enough for maybe one more of these. This is CNN. Occasionally like a stopped clock. Well, what they're saying here is CNN and the Demorat brand is garbage right now. Their brand is garbage. Take it.
Democrats at this point are historically divided. It is a complete and utter mess. It is messier than a hoarder's basement.
You ain't just whistling Dixie.
The national early poll leader, 25% plus. Normally, that's where Democrats are. Biden was at 25% plus in 2020. Hillary Clinton was in 08 and 16. Gore was in 00 and 04. At this particular point, there is no one in the Democratic race for president who's polling at 25% plus.
Anyone? Anyone?
The water is quite warm. If you're a Democrat potentially thinking about running in 2028, jump right in.
Bueller, can you find this out for me? Listen to this also, because what we're discovering, and I'm going to run out of time. I might have 1 or 2 more videos left and things to illustrate for you. Haven't you heard recently that, as a matter of fact, the Democrats seem to be running out of spice? We know that the spice must flow. Apparently, there's some kind of a nasty interruption of the spice.
An interesting phenomenon is taking place. We have certain politicians that are having a really hard time making their fundraising goals for the first time ever. I wonder if it has anything to do with the fact that a whole bunch of left-wing NGOs and Planned Parenthood stopped receiving hundreds of millions of dollars annually from the taxpayers. Yeah, because it turns out that certain politicians, rather than asking for your money, would take it in the form of taxation and then give it to their ideological allies within the NGO and abortion industry, and then get a bunch of campaign contributions in return. I guess it was like a finder's fee.
Funny how that works. Isn't that bizarre? But then again, we can take and...
Hey, listen, I think she might be on to something here.
Doge.
All of a sudden, the Democrat Party is going broke all of a sudden?
What?
Listen, I don't think that's a coincidence.
No.
But y'all let me know what you think in the comments, all right?
I've been noticing a pattern emerging ever since USAID finally closed its doors on July 1st. All of a sudden, the Democrats are running out of money. And it makes me wonder who exactly was paying for this national tour that AOC and Bernie were going on.
We were the American taxpayers. We were...
Maybe all those private jets they were taking from state to state were getting a little too expensive. And just like the Democrats, Act Blue is also running out of money. And have you noticed that ever since USAID finally shut down that we don't see any more nationwide protests? Maybe all those printed signs and pamphlets and propaganda...
Well, they are expensive. And it's known that they pay demonstrators. The protests and the riots are everything but spontaneous.
And this giant Trump baby balloon costs a little bit more than you thought, huh? Also, ever since USAID has shut down, shows are getting canceled left and right. First Stephen Colbert, then E! News. Now all of a sudden The View says that they're going on a hiatus. This is all getting to be a pretty weird coincidence, don't you think? Honestly, whatever
and Stern as well. He's getting kicked off Sirius.
the heck is going on, I'm just glad that it took The View with them, because those 5 women are...
By the way, The View is just on a little bit of a hiatus. I don't really believe that they're truly going anywhere. I think they'll be back.
insufferable, and they have not had a valid take in years. Now, I'm not
But
saying
they
that
are
correlation
insufferable.
always leads to causation, but what I am saying is that I'm pretty good at pattern recognition, and there are a lot of things piling up that are showing me exactly where that money was coming from.
And we know where it was coming from. It was coming from your and my hard-earned American taxpayer dollars. We were being fleeced. The American taxpayer has been paying for everything. We have been fleeced by everyone for everything, including the rest of the planet. And sooner or later, we had to put our foot down and say, no more. Can you imagine what we'd be encountering today if either Biden or Harris, God forbid, had won? So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network. As is customary, promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, also by Shure and Electric Voice microphones, by the Arrakis Corporation, who make my mixer, which is occasionally touched by my producer, Merlin Queffel, but not with any kind of regularity, and also by Pratt & Whitney Engines, producing thrust that you can trust. And as per normal, tiaras are by My Little Pony. Aren't they beautiful? And also, thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be consorting in less than about 10 minutes or so, while I turn off the electrical stuff that occurs right here in the studio. Thanks to everybody for watching. Thanks for your eyeballs and your earballs and your ossicles. Everybody have a great weekend. I'll see you Tuesday night. Everyone, everywhere. God bless. Take care. Be safe. How about some comments?
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Dad. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.
Shh. Is BZ gone? I hope he is. By the way, BZ wants everybody to know that if you tune in this coming Monday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 10 p.m. Central and 11 p.m. Eastern, next week, you might be able to see this guy. This is the graphic that he hates. He hates this with as much depiction as possible. He hates this graphic. Well, as I told you earlier, I'm going to make a new one for him that he will quite likely hate even worse than this one. But I still say, wait a minute, wait, you're not supposed to see me. We're done. There, see, don't I feel better? Don't I look better now? So tune in next Monday night after the lovely weekend you're going to have for the Edge of Liberty and Sean Lewis. And by Tuesday, I should have a lovely new graphic for Sean's show, The Edge of Liberty. Everybody, thanks for being here. Bye-bye. I'm kind of like a Marvel movie, aren't I? Sometimes you just need to continue listening. Ciao, dude.